эти стаканы может убрать нафиг с пляжа? Do you speak Russian already?
No.
What kind of
Zero.
Ukrainian if you don't
Zero.
speak? Zero. Terrible. 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 Okay. I'm talking to you. Am I look nice over there?
Yeah.
Did you check?
Oh, the camera's on you. I get it. That's why you have 3 cameras. Now I get it.
Yeah. You see, you
Because I
learn
thought you were
things.
trying to get a side view. I'm like, this is weird. Okay, now I
it's
get it. Okay. I'm gonna have to close this or it's gonna keep making this. Let's just do it.
Just do it. Go ahead.
Let's just do it.
Are we?
I'm just getting concerned about timing.
Don't worry. Are you going to smoke while we talk?
No. That's a bad look.
Yeah. Hello everybody, I'm Elena Berman and I'm happy to invite you to my next show with a very interesting person. And today we will find out the person behind the business. For example, how Hollywood is working from inside out. We will find the secrets on relationships, how to build up successful relationships to be successful in the movies, how you can invite right person to the movie, how you can resolve any issues. So let me introduce you. Very good friend of mine for many years, right? Andre Release. He is the president of VMR Worldwide, and this company already known all over the world. And you will know today very juicy information which you would love to use for yourself and for your interest. Please share information and use it for yourself. So, hello, Andre.
Hi. How you doing?
Thank you very much. I'm so happy to see you again.
I'm happy to see you too. Thanks for having me today.
So, I know you for certain years, and for me, it was most fascinating your personality, how you build up your business from scratch.
Right.
Because people who start to work in industry,
Yes.
people always wondering why people do that. Why did you do that? Why did you start? Did anybody influenced you, or you have talent, which is now you're using and you're making money of it?
I think since I was young, I've always wanted to own a film company. I remember being a freshman in high school and I was in an acting class in high school, and my friends and I were talking about what we wanted to do when we get older. And I said, I want to run a film company. And all my friends laughed at me and they made fun of me. They said, you can't do that. Like, a lot of people were saying, I remember because one of my friends, his family had been in the film business for a long time, but they had been part of a generational owners. Like, I think his father started Paramount Studios. And so what he was telling me was, it's not possible unless you have family in the industry. You can't just own a film company or connections. And I do. And I did it on my own.
Wow, you're a great example. People who would love to start this business, Andre, it's the best solution for you. And I have a lot of questions for you. Some of them are very insightful. For example, it's not my question, by the way, somebody's. You working with different people in industry. What if you will have a woman producer and you kind of got an affair with her? How you will resolve the situation? It is a very common kind of problem in the industry. I know that.
If I had an affair with somebody that I was working with.
Yes.
You mean like a producer?
Yeah, like a producer or an actress. So how do you resolve that issue without hurting yourself? Because you can lose a lot of things, you know?
I think that I would just... that's a very interesting question. I wasn't expecting that one.
But believe me, everybody would love to know the answer.
I think that you need to deal with it with respect. You need to be very respectful to the other person's feelings, and there's a lot of complexities involved in relationships. So I'm not exactly sure what the circumstances are, but if I had an affair with somebody I worked with or another producer, um, I would be respectful and caring, and try and listen to the other person needs. I'm not sure if it's something where in this scenario we're married and we both are having affairs. Is that what you mean?
Oh, wow. No, 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 not that far. If you would be married, it's a different story. But people doing that without marriage. So anyway, you kind of answered. You have to respect
You'd have
other
to be very
person.
respectful and patient, and you have to. I think the worst thing you could do in that situation is be cold and callous. And I think the people that really have problems would be the ones that were just like cutting off the relationship and not speaking to the person anymore. If you're going to be in an intimate relationship with somebody, you need to be sensitive to the other person. And so the best way to deal with a situation like that, it could be a conflict, is to be respectful, loving and caring, and patient.
Yeah, I agree on that. Thank you. This is very unexpected answer, by the way. You did very good. So you've been collaborating with a lot of A-list actors like Jean-Claude Van Damme, Dolph Lundgren.
I can tell you I've worked with quite a few actors: Aaron Eckhart, Sam Worthington, Steven Seagal.
Oh,
Um, let's see, I worked with Nicolas Cage.
so how do strong relationships with these actors impact the selection and success of your projects?
Well, I think that after you get to know an actor, for in the instance with Dolph Lundgren, that when I started my company in 2010, the first movie I made was that we produced from within was a movie called Blood of Redemption, which was with Dolph Lundgren, Billy Zane, and I got to know Dolph from that moment on, and we've made 6 or 7 movies since, and
Oh,
there's just
wow.
been good synergy. He's a really good guy, so frankly, uh, if you're if you have a special relationship with an actor, it can really help facilitate getting that actor involved in other projects. That doesn't happen all the time because
Yeah.
it's hard to have good relationships as a producer with other actors because a lot of conflict can happen. I've had a lot of conflict with certain actors, but with Dolph, he's a fantastic person.
It looks like you are both lucky because I know you're hardworking on yourself and your profession to build up your professional look and everything. And he's doing the same. So, this is how two beautiful souls make beautiful things happen.
I'll give you a great example. You just asked me a good question about something that's very relevant to my life right now. So I had cast Heather Graham in my movie Wander with Tommy Lee Jones and Aaron Eckhart.
Mm.
And she was a very personable, sweet person, and we got along very well. And so I cast her in the next movie I did, which was The Last Son with Sam Worthington and Machine Gun Kelly. And through our relationship of our friendship, she gave me a script saying, I have the script. It's really an important script that I wrote, and I, for whatever reason, she hadn't produced it, and she asked me to work with her on it, and we did it. We just filmed it last June in Rhode Island. We got Julia Stiles to play her sister, and a great other cast. Well, actually, that's premiering at the Santa Barbara Film Festival in 2 weeks,
Oh,
and I'm very excited about it.
congratulations.
It's called Chosen Family.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love like these stories. Behind the scenes, a lot of going on. For example, I've been on certain auditions on the cooking, for example, uh, was Grant Ramsey. Oh, Grant,
Gordon Ramsay.
yeah, Ramsey. And I didn't know that they have a war behind the channels. So they're asking you in interview, like, are you working with that channel or with that? I didn't know what to answer. So I just said, what should I answer? So they kind of looking for people who are not supposed to be here. They like, spying on each other. Do you have like this situation? Like somebody wants to come on your set, for example, and see what you do, maybe copy. What about, rights, copyrights or something? Do you
No,
have any issues with that?
I haven't had that, but I've had certain, there's just as in any business, you're gonna have positive experiences, good people, and negative. And in the film business, unfortunately, I think there's a lot of more of the negative side of people because there's a lot of money and power involved. And I've had some serious problems with certain producers I've worked with who try and take my relationships,
Oh,
or
wow.
even situations where I'm like, hey, join parties with me on this film, let's do this together. And then I've had somebody say, you know what, actually, I'm not going to do this movie. And then I find out 6 months later they're attached as producers and made the movie with this contact that I put them in touch with and lied to me and said they didn't want to do the movie and wanted nothing more to do with it. And then they stole the contact. And it was with the Bruce Willis movie. They went and made it and screwed me over and basically said, sue me.
Oh, wow. And who won?
I didn't take it that far. It
Oh,
wasn't
okay.
worth it.
So you're basically working mostly worldwide, right? Not only in America. Where
Yeah.
is your most audience? Where are you focused, and what kind of interest of audience you are serving?
Well, I mean, our company's called VMR Worldwide. And I remember when the company launched in 2010, it made a lot of sense because we were licensing movies in the United States and all over the world. So Worldwide really fits into the description of where our company has leverage and where we have audiences. As far as our I'd say the core markets for us are Western Europe,
Mm-hmm.
Japan, Australia, North America, Latin America, and then East Europe
Oh,
and
wonderful.
Middle East.
And
We have
Middle
a
East.
great actual client. So it is pretty much worldwide. And just over the last 3 years, we launched our. So we started off as a production company and a sales agent, meaning we were selling other people's movies or producing movies and then selling them. We 3 years ago started our own distribution that's worldwide because we have direct deals with all the platforms. And so we're releasing movies every month and then putting them up on the platforms that can reach. We have a direct deal with iTunes. We can release our movies all throughout the world now through Amazon, iTunes,
Mm-hmm.
Tubi's in multiple platforms, Pluto's in multiple platforms. So worldwide.
Very cool. Very cool. So, what you are looking for in from partnership, or somebody will listen right now to us, and a business or person, what kind of connections you would love to have additionally to what you have already?
That's a good question. I mean, we're looking for other producers to work with. We've had a lot of success with co-productions with other producers who have projects that are looking to co-produce, or they have relationships, or they have a start with something. Um, so basically, we're looking for co-production relationships with producers who have projects that have part of the financing together, or they have a great director attached, or they have actors attached. Um, what's really difficult for us is to just have somebody reach out, which happens all the time, and go, "Hey, I got this great idea for a script." Well, I mean, we have so many scripts that we already control that are backlogged that we're, slowly going to get into production. And so if you want to add value, if you're out there and you want to add value and you want to make a relationship with someone like myself, somebody who's got an established company who's producing movies, you need to come in with some value, something that because it's a producer's job not just to have the script, it's to take it forward to the next level. And a producer's job means secure some financing. Okay, if you can't do that, bring in a good director who's got some good credits. Okay, if you can't do that, bring in an actor, attach actors, make relationships. The worst is when somebody comes in and is just like, I've done no work, here's something, what do you think? Because it's like, sorry, I'm a producer. I've had to work my butt off and do all these things myself. And, I expect the same of others.
Yeah, sure, sure. So, People do your homework, work on yourself, and in order to escalate your business, then you can come in and bring some values to yourself and others, because everything should be mutually beneficial, right? And what kind of lessons did you learn through VMI journey? Because
Mhm.
you learned a lot of valuable lessons, and your personality learned for your personal, character, and for the knowledge. So what kind of lessons shaped you, and how did it take your company, or where it take it? Does it help, or maybe not? Maybe you lost a lot of money. Who knows?
No, I think I've learned a lot of lessons through running a company. I'm not a traditional. I'm not educated in the business side of things. I didn't come out of a business degree and just suddenly run a company. It just happened from an experience with another company, and I was a partner there, and then we split, and then I the next thing I knew, I was running my own company, and I had no real training, so I've had to train myself along the way through experience, and a lot of it I would say is the most important thing is perseverance. You have to be you have to be consistent, and you have to work very hard, and if you hear a no, you can't take it as a no and just walk away. You need to be consistently working and keep pushing through. Perseverance works. Two, being more diplomatic. I have I'm a Leo, a double Leo, so I have somewhat of a fiery personality, and so dealing with actors and other producers and situations that occur on set and or offset, I can be a little harsh, and I think I learned to be more diplomatic and think more about the other person's perspective when dealing with business matters and onset issues and pre-production issues, even through the editing process. Dealing with directors can be quite difficult because they're very sensitive to changes, and instead of it being like, no, this is just the way it's going to be, which actually causes more problems than positive, learning to be more diplomatic and being more understanding of the other person's.
Is
I'm still working on it.
Is it because you have become wiser with the age, or because
I just think I realize what works better.
or it is I can take a credit for me because you're socializing with me as an expert on
Could be, yeah, you're
relationships?
good at that. And then also, don't panic.
Yeah, it's
Don't
most
panic.
important. Yeah.
I've had a lot of trials and tribulations through running this company. I've had my ups and downs. And I think one of the things I've learned the most is when it seems like the sky is falling, it usually isn't. And just try not to panic
Mm-hmm.
and be stoic and take your time, breathe a little bit. The same problem you're having today that sounds horrible and like it's the end of the world, you might sleep on it, and the next day you're like, actually, it's not so bad.
Yeah,
Or what you think is a really bad situation, a lot of times can work its way out.
exactly. Yes. And plus, it is a movie. Everything can happen. Turn upside down and use it to your advantage. It's very interesting that you mentioned your zodiac sign. Are you believer in astrology?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
So you are actually matching your actors, for example, or maybe even
No,
partners?
not
No?
at all.
You don't go that far.
I think on actors, I don't. No, I'm into zodiac signs. I mean, I believe in it to a degree, but I don't run my life around it. That being said, relationships. If I'm in dating somebody and they're in a like their sign is the opposite. Like if it's a Pisces and I'm a Leo, which I am, I'm not supposed to date Pisces, right?
You will pay attention
It
just in
says that.
case.
So if I met a girl who was a Pisces and I had an opportunity to date her, I'd probably think twice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very interesting. This is a character. This is a human being behind the scene. I love that. Right now, technology going skyrocketing. AI is taking the world.
Correct.
Do you work with AI
It's so
or
funny you say that. Um, to be honest with you, I'm very scared about AI. I'm
you scared?
I'm very nervous about not as far as my position per se or filmmaking. I mean, they're going to need producers. I don't see a robot being able to take over that. but I don't like the fact that certain studios or some of the big conglomerates are trying to use AI for extras in movies and take somebody's likeness and then use it. And I know SAG just had a strike over it. And I'm worried about what can be manipulated and these big corporations using AI to enrich themselves and keep people down. That being said, on the flip side, as an independent film producer, there's a lot of positives to what AI can do. And I'll give you a great example. I'm making some war documentaries. I'm repurposing some war documentaries that I own, and I need to revoice them, put in a new narrator.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a very short timeline to do this. And I'm talking about hundreds of hours of content. And there's an AI there's an AI process or platform or website I can utilize that will actually do the voiceover for me and sound like a human being that can get done like that.
I never heard any voice like that, technical like a human. You always recognize
I
it
think
is a
yes,
machine.
we haven't done it yet, but because of the time frame and the amount of material I need to get done, it's something I'm looking at. It's the first type of AI situation, other than I've had certain colleagues that work for me that are trying to, you know, get metadata or synopsis of movies, and they can get decent stuff through AI. But I'd be very careful to rely on it too much.
Yeah,
I
because
think
quality could be not what you're
it's not just
expecting.
quality, but then you're taking people's livelihoods away. So I'm concerned about it. I think in some ways it can be good, in other ways it could be a disaster.
Exactly. Exactly. So we are going from here to a very important question, because everybody is trying to impact the world in a certain way. So where do you think whole movie industry leading? Short movies or features movies or series? What is going to be very valuable for audience?
I mean, as they say, content is king.
Content. And it doesn't matter
Content is
how you
king. No,
deliver,
that's
right?
not exactly true. You need to have content that you can monetize, right? Short films, I don't know how to monetize. I mean, I don't know how to make money off them because there's not really a home that I'm aware of where you can monetize short films. Maybe on YouTube, you can probably do that through various uh, platforms. But as far as the companies that I service do, I don't know how to monetize short films. That being said, things are changing. Where is things going right now? Where are things going right now? I can't tell you 100% because right now is a very strange time because of all these digital platforms that are becoming more predominant. The question is will the theatrical business come back? Will people continue? You know, we're seeing an uptick in the theatrical numbers, but it's not where it was pre-COVID levels. And I don't know if the theatrical business will ever return to the way it was because Amazon, Netflix, what have you, they don't necessarily need those theatrical windows anymore, and they're just releasing straight to streaming, and that's a little scary.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I do believe that all these new platforms that are emerging, it's all going to be cyclical and it'll turn back to where it was before, where we had cable TV, but it just will be through the digital platforms. So it'll almost be the same thing uh, through the feature films and televisions being exploited through these platforms. But everything's very digital, and 10 years ago, if I had a movie and I wanted to put it up around the world, I couldn't do that. Now I can
Oh,
because of
nice.
iTunes and Amazon and Pluto and these different platforms. I can, if I have a direct account, I can put them up and exploit them that way.
Wonderful. The future, nothing gonna change except
No,
if this
things are
is
going
will
to
be,
change.
except the content. Content will play the role,
Content's
most
going to be
important.
king. The question is one of the biggest problems with independent. I think the biggest. I think the most threatening situation for independent film and independent television, independent product in general, is these bigger companies like Netflix, like Amazon, like Apple. et cetera, who are creating their own content
Mm-hmm.
and then saying, you know what, I'm not going to buy independent movies anymore. We don't need you guys. We're creating our own content and we're going to fill our platforms with it. That is a big
Wow.
danger. And I see that happening more and more. Netflix used to embrace independent movies, very much so. And I've seen now over the last 3 to 4 years, it's really become more predominant in just utilizing their own internal productions and not buying independent projects. I think that's going to change back. I just read an article where the president of Netflix was saying by creating their own content, they're spending a lot of money and they could probably save money by buying independent product because if you make it in-house, it's more expensive. And I'm hoping that that happens.
Exactly. And it's like you trying to wear all hats. Why? You
Yeah,
just share with everybody interest and profit, and you will be much better off.
yeah, I can make, I guarantee you, myself as well as a lot of other independent producers out there can make content a lot cheaper than what the platforms and studios do.
So pay attention. It's a great idea to support independent film industry. It's a very good niche. And right before the war with in Ukraine, everybody, I mean, not everybody, but a lot of actors suddenly remembered, recalled that they have a
Oh
Ukrainian
my
roots.
God, this
What
is
about
yeah.
you? Is it affected you as well? I know that you're Ukrainian as well,
Okay,
right?
well, that's a very interesting thing because do you know that I was the ambassador for Ukraine for the media relations with the government of Ukraine for 4 months?
Oh, wow.
And this was before the war.
So what did you do as
So
ambassador?
Zelensky was having I think this was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. Zelensky was having a 30th, it was the 30th or 40th anniversary of the independence from Russia. Big historical event. And it was a big event, including a military parade, and with the event with the first lady, and concerts and whatnot. And I was asked to help the president bring celebrities that had Ukraine roots from Ukraine to Ukraine to be with the president during this event. And I went, and I brought Catherine Winnick with me,
Oh, nice. Did she
and
like?
she loved it. She's from Canada. She had never been to Ukraine, but she has real Ukraine roots, and in fact grew up speaking the language. But the funny thing is a lot of actors I reached out to. The government gave me a list of all the celebrities that they said had Ukraine roots, and like 50% of them were their agents were like, they have no. They're saying that they don't have
But
Ukraine. Like Lisa Kudrow,
why did they want to go over there? To support actor president or why? Or it is
because the
in
president
fashion?
was going to fly them over
Okay, that's
and
why.
and
So
and, and invite them to this great experience. And
it's
if
good
if you had,
experience.
and I was there, it was incredible, but it was really difficult because it was during COVID. It was so. Anyways, I'm very much aware of the fact that a lot of actors and actresses, what have you, who said before they didn't have roots, suddenly have roots and are suddenly supportive of Ukraine, because I was on the front lines of that.
Wow. So good job. Are you continue to work with government? No, it's done. It's one
I
time deal.
mean, the war changed things,
Yeah.
right? It's not like he's having these events happening and to get celebrities to fly into Ukraine during a war. It doesn't,
Exactly.
it's not realistic. It's not really what he should be concentrating on right now.
Definitely, definitely. But we appreciate who supports on this side. It's a wonderful conversation with you. I would love to continue next time and to kind of assume everything. What this cat doing on your
Okay,
desk?
so one thing, so I'm a film producer, right? But I also started directing documentaries, okay? And so I directed two previous documentaries. I'm a musician before I became a film producer. So I directed a documentary on Randy Rhoads, the guitarist for Ozzy
Mm.
Osbourne, who died in a tragic plane crash. And we released it a year and a half ago. It did really well. And then before that, I did the NWA and Eazy-E documentary. I'm directing a Sex Pistols documentary with Glenn Matlock, and it's based upon his book, I Was a Teenage Sex Pistol. And I'm directing Keyboard Cat. It's called Anatomy of a Meme. Keyboard Cat, actually, this is backwards, was one of the first YouTube memes.
Everybody knows them.
In 2006, 2007, his video went viral, and I was given this by the gentleman who came up with the video, and I'm producing it with him.
Oh, wonderful. This is very exciting project.
It is.
By the way, I would love to a couple of questions to ask you about your music background.
Yes, please.
Because you've been for years, right? You're playing in a band, right? Like a singer. You had a.
I started my band in 1998, and we're still together. We
Oh
just played a bunch
wow!
of
So you
shows.
have a concerts?
Yeah, we just played a bunch of shows. We broke up for like 10 years, and we just got back together.
Unbelievable! You have so much talents and everything you combined.
Wow.
It is like a given for you. It's a right place for you because you can use everything what you already been using anyway in life. So
Appreciate that.
yeah, and do you like more film industry or music industry, or you cannot decide?
No, actually, um, I love the film industry. I love the music industry. If I could have it my way, I would just produce and direct and produce music documentaries all day. That's all I would do. But that being said, that closes the doors on film that's not documentary related. So I love making movies that are not music related, but my passion's more on the music side.
You know, when you're, not everybody can do a lot of things. Usually, men, they are doing only one thing. You are multitask, like a woman. It looks like you had a lot of influence from women in your family, right?
Yeah, most definitely my mom and my sisters. I didn't have any brothers, so that makes sense.
Oh,
But there's good and bad to multitasking. I'm not going to say that's always a good thing because I think if you do too many things, you spread yourself thin, and then you
yeah.
could be doing one thing and being, you know, you could have an excellent results. So you have to be careful about that, and I do get worried about that with my musical side and playing in my band. In fact, I try and limit it because I don't want to get so sidetracked. But yeah, I do a lot of different things.
You're doing great. I love it. So keep going, believe in yourself,
Thank you.
and you're doing everything is on the right path and speed. And what you would make different in the film industry if you would have possibility?
I wish I wish the industry was more regulated. I don't like the fact that
By
there's
who?
the government.
Hmm.
I don't like the fact that there's these gigantic media companies that are now becoming bigger and bigger and getting eaten up by these financial institutions. I mean, as an independent producer, we have a major disadvantage to the studios or Netflix or Amazon
Yeah,
or Apple. And I'll tell you why. They can make a
obviously.
$100 million, $200 million movie, and if that loses money, it's not really going to affect their bottom line.
Because
They
they sell other product to make money, which is they use into production.
well,
You doing only production.
they're also heavily subsidized by their stocks
Exactly.
and billions of dollars of investment, and so um, it's really an unfair business in the sense where we can't compete at that level. The only way we can compete is if they, or we can be in the same playing field as if they buy our content or co-produce with us. I would make it more regulated so that these big conglomerates with Silicon Valley money coming in or Chinese money, it wasn't possible. I think that there needs to be more regulation on these big media companies so that they're not so huge that they have such a controlling stake. And look at what happened even in the 1930s, 40s, maybe 20s was it, where the government had to shut down the studios from owning their own theaters. They had to make a law so that studios could not own movie theaters because that was the only way to distribute. Well, think of it now. If you have Netflix, if you have Amazon, if you have Apple, and they have a certain part of the market and they're distributing through it, it's really the same concept, but
Yeah.
they don't regulate it.
Yeah, hopefully somebody will hear this, our wishes, and it will become true. And thank you very much for your honesty and your sharing very openly. It is means a lot. And I'm inviting everybody to work with VMI, and I hope everybody would benefit of this information, and maybe it will shorten your way to the industry wherever you want to be. So wish you good luck with VMI, and we're looking forward for a lot of more projects because you're in the right place, and everybody invite you to support independent movies.
Thanks very much for having me.
Thank you.